Hi, and welcome to the Presenter Mastery Podcast. I'm Lucas, CEO of Headgain and amateur speaker.
And I'm David J.P. Phillips, the expert speaker in this case.
And together, we're your weekly guides to unlocking the power of presentation skills. And in today's episode, we are diving into one of the most common things to include in your presentation. It is data.
Data.
Mm-hmm. Presenting data is one of the most common things to do. And why? Well, because when you're doing a presentation, you often want to convince that your argument is correct, right? And what better to use than data to support the same argument. Maybe it's a financial report, maybe it's something else, but it's data. And yes, there are some people that enjoy reading science articles that find data just so extraordinarily exciting, that just love statistics, can sit and look at them forever and ever and ever, but that's not the same thing for everyone in this world. And maybe that's also why presenting data can be a challenge. So that's what we're talking about today. How to make data engaging and interesting.
Yes. How do we do it?
Well, I would like to ask you, David.
Me?
Yes. Mm-hmm. You travel the world a lot.
Yes.
You spend time in conference halls and review, coach others in presentations. You see a lot of data being presented. So just to start this off, generally speaking, how good do you believe people are at presenting data?
Scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being not very good.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd say give it a good 3.
3 out of 10?
Maybe 2, maybe 3.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds awfully much like the average skill of a presenter as well, right? The average skill level being 30 to 35 out of the 110 steps.
Yeah, that's true.
So on par.
Data is probably it has the challenge of being the most difficult thing to present because it can be phenomenally boring and confusing. So I think it's what gives you the best opportunity to truly suck is data.
Yeah, sorry, I need to rephrase. 2 or 3 out of 10, that's a 20% level. That's horrible.
That is horrible. That is like you're going to walk into a grocery store, and whoever you talk to in the grocery store, they only know 20% of what they're supposed to know. Ooh. Like they don't know where stuff is, they don't know how to charge, they don't know how to use the card machine. It's fairly fantastic.
I will go to another shop.
Yeah, it's the same thing there.
It's sometimes when I'm on support questions or something, I'm sorry, support people, I don't want to bash you. I've been in support myself. I worked as telephone and internet support. Know your stuff, please. As a client, as a customer, it's so frustrating coming in with a clear question and then just getting gibberish back.
It's beautiful. I had this very interesting encounter this spring because every summer I buy like a something that entertains me during the summer, right? And I like cars, so I buy like a car for 3 months and then I sell it. And usually it doesn't cost me anything because I'm able to buy it for the same price as I sell it. So this summer is no different. And I've gone to a number of sport car brands. And the salespeople there, they know their thing, but it seems like they're not really passionate about it. And then I've gone to 2 motorcycle places to see if I'm going to buy like a Ducati or a Yamaha. And yesterday I went to Ducati, and the passion these people have for data is insane. The way they describe how many cc's a motorcycle has, how much horsepower it has, the 0 to 60, 0 to 200, and the weight distribution, there's just so much energy and passion into their eyes that they're literally making love to their own product. Like, it's insane. Both the Yamaha and the Ducati salespeople. And when I go to these people who sell cars. It's like, yeah, we have this model, it can do this, it can do this, it can do this. There's no passion and heart to it.
Why?
And I find this there are exceptions to this. But this was just my observation from the last days, that the people selling motorcycles are way better at data because they're passionate.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I are you going to buy a motorcycle? I know this is off topic, but this is something really new. Have you...
it's important that we don't release this podcast before Alex hears it, because it's going to be a surprise. Because Alex has told me try to get a motorcycle for 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah, so get a hold off, man. Hold off.
Okay, so we put this...
This one's got to come after.
Wow, I've never seen you on a bike.
I have never driven a bike.
Oh, but you have one of those older Swedish licenses where it's included?
I'm not that old. That's like 30 years older than I am. Something. You got to be at least 65 to have one of those.
Oh, but well, do be careful.
Yes.
All right. Well, moving away from motorcycles, that's not what this episode is, but maybe we should do invite Alex and talk about motorcycles, and then you just present why you love it.
That's going to be passion as well. No?
Yes. Okay, so traveling the world, you've seen that on average, a speaker does a 2 or 3 on a 10-grade scale when presenting data.
Yep.
So then what are the major things that people are doing wrong with presenting data?
I think the example I just gave was one of them, like the motorcycle salespeople being passionate about they live their subject.
So not being passionate and living it.
Yeah.
What else are like specifically people on stage doing?
Well, I think a super simple thing is that they don't set the axis and the context before showing the data. Okay, they're separate. So in order to present a good chart or a chart, set the context. That means, why is this chart important for those who are listening? And then step 2, introduce the axis. What's on the B-axis? What is on the X and Y? What's that called in English? X and Y axis?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Not A and B axis as in Swedish. X, Y.
Oh.
Maybe it's the same thing.
I think it's X and Y.
I'm not really into maths, man.
No, I think A and B would be talking about triangles.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
X and Y angles. X and Y axis. So X and Y axis, you go like, and on this axis, we have the population number. And on the Y axis, we have the population of per county. And people are like, okay, got it. Okay, I got the context. I got why this is important. Now I understand the axis. So I kind of grasp the framework of this. And then next step is that you start introducing the data, but you don't go click and all data's there. No. You take it county by county by county, or data point by data point by data point. And you go like, okay, let's have a look at January. Have a look. Are you ready? Click. Boom. Wow, that's 8.7. All right, it's time for February. Was it higher? God knows. There's a 6.5. And then you click and you go, you can't do this for every data point because people will be literally crawling out of there at the end. It works to a certain extent. So I'd say that just that series, context, axis description, and data point by data point, animated, is going to take you from a 2-3 to a 6. If you're also passionate at the same time, we're looking at an 8. And if you can combine very good like delivery skills, voice usage, and body language, that's a 10.
Boom.
Yeah. It's quite easy to excel in data because it's just one area. It's almost like excelling in changing a tire. Like you can become a 10 in changing a tire, but fixing an entire motorcycle requires a lot more skills. So it's constrained to this little thing.
Yeah. So if we need to do these things, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how then when you see presenters, they just miss out on 4? Yeah. So basically, I assume now the keynotes that you're seeing when they present data, at least the context is there. But what do they do then? Like, what is the most common thing to do? They just, okay, so let's look at the numbers for this year, and they pull up the chart, and then boom, all the data is displayed.
Yeah.
That's the most common thing that people are doing.
Yeah, I think they miss all of them. They rarely do a context or describe the why. Yeah, and they rarely do the access for the data, and then they rarely animate the data, and they're rarely passionate.
Yeah.
That's why they're scoring twos and
not
threes.
even introducing the data, maybe just going to the next slide and here's the data.
Yeah. I've seen that so many times. Yeah.
Do you have like a horrible data experience?
You know what? I have so many. I have no idea which one to pick.
Yeah, okay.
Which one to pick. But I can tell you about another person's worst nightmare. And that was a conference where I was called in to do my How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint. And I started the entire conference by delivering a 1-hour keynote on how to avoid death by PowerPoint and how to present data and how to present any data and make it engaging. And people were like gobsmacked. The energy was sky high. And then the time means that's now 10 o'clock in the morning. So the rest of the conference has to go on. The next chap coming up is the driest, dullest persona you can ever imagine. And his PowerPoint and data is an extension of that persona. He starts off well by just finishing off a very, very simple joke, and that is, oh my God, how's this gonna go? Coming up after David, and then you have the audience going, ha 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 ha. But that was also the only laugh and only emotional experience.
Sorry.
This person had such a horrid time. I actually recommend people when they book me, if you're going to have me for the How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint keynote or How to Present Data keynote, book me for the end of the conference. Do not have me before people coming up.
No.
If you do want me to start, also see to it that I can train everyone in the conference to actually deliver data in a good, sensible way.
Yeah.
But I've seen, I had this one keynote as well. The CEO was going to come up after me. So I started and he comes up after me. And after I got feedback from somebody that the CEO hated me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, basically what you did was trash how people are creating PowerPoints, presenting data, and then the most influential person in the company comes up and does everything wrong.
Yeah.
That's hurtful.
That must be horrid, that situation. There was 500 people. I remember that CEO walking up. He looked like he'd been hit by something. He just knew this was going to be so hard for him.
Yep. Oh, can't.
But it's so easy. It's, as I said, it's learning to shift a tire. It's 5 steps. Get that right. God damn it.
Yeah. No, it's not so hard if you just look at this little list, set the context, introduce the axis, then start introducing the data, animate each point, and be passionate about your subject. It's five easy things to do, and just do it.
Yeah. And in the set the context, if you can create that good why for the audience, I put those into the same, but it should probably be 6 steps. Set context, build a why. It's but still, 6 steps. Anyone can do that. Just prepare, plan. It's going to be amazing. Data is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to the role of being, I'm the CEO of HeadGain, our online course business. And last winter, we did our end of the year conference. So we gathered up, we had a, what do you call it? Not summit.
Yeah.
But
workshop.
boot camp, whatever. We met up, we had a blast. But it was also a point where it's expected of me to present how it's gone for the company. And in this podcast, I was actually coached by you before doing that presentation.
Yeah.
Because I was not sure. And to be honest, for anyone listening, yes, coming into this business and having to present in front of David J.P. Phillips, it can be scary. I get it. I get it when people come in to present a mastery and they are a little bit afraid in the beginning, because you are so brilliant at presentations and you study people and you examine it. And we had Alex, our head coach, sitting also in the audience, right? And there I am and having to present. So I had to work on myself and my confidence and just go with it, having fun. But also creating this presentation, looking at the year that has gone by, how to present the data of our revenue, our collective income, how it's gone for the business. And I think I did a good job.
Sure, your presentation was better than mine.
No, well, it would be interesting if you could think back, if you saw me as a client and not the person I am, and you looked at that presentation, what would be your feedback on it?
It was amazing. Yeah. It was spectacular. Like, it's truly great.
Well, thank you.
If I were to see that when I'm out traveling, I'd be blown away. That would be great. But you did hit the sweet spot, man. That was one of the best I've seen. Definitely. Company like report presentation likes.
I'll
so
take
well
that.
Done. Just keep on doing it. You know, the way you built up that timeline and the humor you used and the repetition you used, your passion, engagement, and again, presentation of data was spot on. Yeah, no, it was just stellar, man. Stellar.
Thank you. So just to recap what I actually did, I did a timeline for the past year where I went back into my phone, our Slack channel, our social media, looked at what had happened each month to look back at the progress that we've done. Because I realized also, and I've heard more people say this, that when you're in online business, it's almost like the year, it happens so much. In digital, in tech, everything just moves so fast all of the time. So the year just feels like you can't even imagine all of the things that you go through in a year. So I packed that in, and for each month, I presented the pictures of things that we had done and ended every single month with the numbers for that month, and just could keep on going in that project. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun.
That's the important bit, you know.
Yeah. I think halfway in, I started feeling like, okay, now I'm warm, and then just went for it.
You're sublime, man. You're sublime. That's awesome.
Okay, so nothing to be done differently. You would
in your case?
Yeah.
No, not from that presentation. No. I'd say that, as I said, changing a wheel. That's presenting data, and you were spectacularly good at that. Yeah, it's Formula One wheel changing skill level, man.
Thank you.
I loved it. I loved seeing that.
Yeah, I thought we would listen to a little clip. We've been talking in this podcast before about Hans Rosling, and I know you have a clip on your computer that we just want to listen to have so that you on the podcast, if you're listening to this, go to YouTube to see this. We'll cut in the clip as well, just to see how you can be playful and present data in such an engaging way. Hans Rosling was the epic godfather of presenting data.
Yeah, he is Swedish, and not everyone knows of him, but he's definitely one of the top 3 most influential people in the world talking about data and the world. His TED Talks are just mesmerizingly brilliant when it comes to data. So the only thing I want to just portray with this is his passion, because you won't understand what he's actually doing, because then I'd have to play the entire 3-minute thing. So have a look at his TED Talks. But he's talking about how the world has been changing, and it's now come to 1810. So he's standing in front of a screen, and he has these 2 axes with years and income. Okay, so that's the context. Here he goes.
Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. And in 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were sick and poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off, but not much. And now, I start the world.
And now I start the world. And it's just the passion in his voice, the love he makes with his own data. I I miss him. You know, he passed, what is it, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So sad. Have a look at him. True inspiration, shows passion, and the way he follows all these 6 steps whenever he presents data.
Yeah.
I'd like to just share like 2 quick stories which can help as well. The one story I want to share was with he was a accountant, right? And he had this ambition in life that he wanted his career to truly grow and become bigger. And this was such a weird story. And this was the guy, you know, Lucas, that called me up and said, "Hey, can you do coaching?" And I said, "Yes." "Can you come home to me?" I said, "Okay, that's weird. Can I pay like black?" I'm like, that is super strange. You're calling me from this big ass company. You want me to come home to your cellar and pay me black? What is this? And I say, fair enough. When I go there, I've actually got my wife on speaker in case this person would do something super strange, and I can just call her and say, "Call the police." Anyway, I get there, we go into the cellar, he starts presenting, and it's truly bad. It's truly bad. He's standing looking into the PowerPoint. There is no context, there is no why, there's a lot of data, it's not animated, there's no passion, there's no voice changes. It's horrid. And I say, I remember this thing, I just said one thing to him, and I said, just value your data, right? You've chosen the subject, I can hear that you like it, just value it, please go again. And then he starts going, and then you have 44, which I find interesting because, and then you have number 23, which I remember when I saw that this the first time, I was truly shocked, you know, and he just went on like that. And then his entire persona became different. The entire presentation evolved by just valuing what he said. The reason he did this was that he didn't want his colleagues to find out that he was doing coaching. He just wanted to come back and being phenomenal. He came back, he was phenomenal. He won that year's prize of being the best presenter in the country, in the company of 6,000 employees. His career just skyrocketed after that. That's one story, value what you're talking about when it comes to data. And second thing, B, this is a fantastic story about a CEO of a big company in the building business, noted on the stock exchange. He calls me up and he says, "I have this presentation, I have to do the financial reports, and people are so bored, they yawn. It's horrid, David. Who wants to stand up on stage and have people yawn at you?" And he's like, and they lose focus, and they look at their mobile phones, and they look at their computers. This has to stop. This is so important. This is the foundation of the company, for God's sake. And we looked at a lot of different variants, and he tried a bunch of them out, and there was a phenomenal impact, just amazing impact. However, there was one thing that took him from phenomenal to godlike, and that was the bingo sheet. So we tried this out. The way we did it is we created a bingo sheet, which had like 5 times 5 squares. And in each of these squares, there was a word was placed at random that he was going to say in the presentation. So he was going to say revenue, and that word was one of those 25 squares. And then he was going to say profit, and that was one of the 25 squares. He was going to say EBITDA, and that was one of the 25 squares, right? And now the people came in, and he'd printed out bingo sheets for everyone, which were also different. So not everyone got different bingo sheets. So they came in, and then he introduced this kind of game, and he said, "I bought prizes. I have 3 prizes. First one who gets bingo will get this prize, which was hidden in a big box. The second will get this, the third one will get this." And people were super confused. This is again the CEO of a stock exchange company. And they were like, what is going on? And then he started off talking. And then you could see people going like, okay, I got that word. Okay, I got that word. And there was a buzz in that room, you know, the energy was, you could touch it as he went along. They were so focused beyond anything. And as they were getting closer to bingo, and some of them had like 4 in a row, the only thing they were missing was the number 5. I assure you, the way they focused on his presentation was similar to not having eaten for 4 weeks, and you have this deer in front of you and you have your hunting stick with you. There was nothing that could break their attention away from him. And then the word came and he said it. And this guy just screams out bingo like he'd won the number 1 prize in the world. And the disappointment in the others, you know. But then the second and the third, but there was still this disappointment, of course. But then he said, he ended it all off by saying, next quarterly report, there will be bingo sheets as well. And this spontaneous applause just went off. And he just carried on doing that. And he moved them from yawning, looking in their mobile phones, to adoring. Some people say then, yeah, but did they really focus on his presentation? And the answer was yes, because the stuff he wanted them to remember was the 25 things that he'd picked out, and some of them were repeated as well. So he could steer their attention and focus to what they were supposed to remember. Absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
That's data god.
Yeah.
God-like data.
That's a super bonus tip for you.
Yeah.
The bingo sheet.
Oof.
Oof. All right, speaking of bonuses, it's time for Skill of the Week.
Yadagabahuba. Yes. So what is that about?
Well, Skill of the Week is where we each week pull one skill out of the 110-step sheet. David presents it. It's something that you can use, train on this week, and make your presentations better.
It's almost like we pull something out of our hat every single time, right?
Well, there are 110 skills to choose from, so there is a lot of value to consider here. But do you have one ready?
I'd love to do skill 29, voice climax. Have we done that one, Emil?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Do it. All right, voice climax is just beautiful when it comes to data, because that means that you take your voice from one volume to a slightly higher volume with a slightly higher energy. So you go, this is January, and now we have February, and now we have March, and now we have April, and we're coming in on May and June. It's going to be crazy, and July is going to be the best thing ever. Like a voice climax like that is just beautiful when it comes to data. You don't have to exaggerate it like I did. You just have to go, we have January, and then we have February, and then we have March, and I'm going to show you all 3 and what they look like. Yep. Voice climax.
Nice.
Skill
Boom.
29.
There you have it. 29.
Yeah.
Voice climax.
Yeah.
Use it. Make sure to include it when you're presenting data. So just to quickly summarize this chapter on presenting data, make sure to set the context.
And introduce a why.
Introduce a why. Introduce the axis.
Yes.
Then start introducing the data. Animate each point and be passionate. And as a bonus tip from the guy that we're not naming is value what you say and present. Value your data.
Oh my God, sweet tips.
Yes. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. We would love a review from you. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, I know it's a little bit weird to find these things and exactly where in the app, but you can go to, I think it's settings somewhere. Please just leave a review. It will mean the world to us. As long as this podcast is growing, that means that we can come back, deliver more value. If you have friends that you think should listen to this, that they can benefit from and become better at presenting, tip them about this podcast. That's how we grow. We do word of mouth. It's a very old marketing tactic, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So please talk about the podcast, review it. We would also love your questions, feedback, whatever thoughts you have on these episodes. They are released in full on the Presenter Mastery YouTube channel, where you can also see the clip that we talked about with Hans Rosling in this episode. So you'll see us actually sitting and talking, full video, all episode. So go to YouTube, Presenter Mastery. Great. Also, if you are interested in becoming a better presenter, maybe you're the CEO, maybe you're the product manager, maybe you're the salesperson who knows that damn it, I can do presentations better, we have a free training for you. It's in the show notes. It's called the top 3 things to become a top 1% presenter. It's a free training for you to watch. You can access it anytime. Just click the link and go there. That will be the start of understanding the world of public speaking as we see it and getting help from us. That's it. Thank you again. A pleasure to be here, showing up each week, talking to you, David, talking to you as a listener, whatever your name is. Thank you so much for listening.
Beautiful, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.